So welcoming you again. You already knows about the today's topics. Neurology is a system of calculation, a little bit arithmetic really. To follow a formula, the basic question of the neurology is what is the lesion? Where is the lesion? Actually, where is the lesion is the first question, and then what is the lesion? So we will take one example today of muscle weakness. But there are many functions, physiologic function in the body, where we can focus in many ways. It's not true only in the neurology, it's true in many other systems of the body, like endocrinology, but very strongly, very important system to make a focus of the lesion is very important in the neurology, and it must be enjoyable for every doctor really if we are sincere and serious to our discussion and interaction. And from my side, I will try my best. So my request, all the colleagues will be with us until the end. It will not be very long time classes today, though I will try my best to give you adequate time also to make the thing palatable and understandable. So this is our institute. Welcome you all. In very beginning, I like to give you one problem. This is the problem of a patient. This is the clinical scenario. So please go through by yourself silently. Our question will be, what is the lesion? Where is the lesion? Actually, we will solve where is the lesion first. It's better. Anyway, this is our question. This is actually diagnostic challenge for everyone. Please go through by yourself. Then we will come to the next one. So randomly, I will ask someone that have you gone through or not. Dr. Farial, if you finish your reading, please let me know. Dr. Farial, be unmuted. Keep unmuted. It will be easier for me to interact. If you finish your reading, please let me know. Try to understand as well, not only reading. Dr. Mamun wants to know. Please, Dr. Mamun, be unmuted. You can unmute yourself, Dr. Mamun.
Yeah, I raised hand on for answer, sir. Sorry, sir.
Wrongly you raised the hand?
Yes, sir. Just
sorry,
for
sorry. Okay. Thank you. Be muted always. Dr. Farial, be unmuted always. I need to talk to you for technical connection. Dr. Farial. Keep you unmuted, Dr. Farial.
Yes, sir.
Keep you unmuted. Just to interact with me. So now, the thing you will find that where is the lesion? What is the lesion? Many intelligent participants, I know the answer. I know that you know the answer. But even then, to know the answer, we have to know very confidently. It is my today's intention actually. I don't believe that you don't know anything. I don't believe in my heart. So today class will be heterogeneous. We are not the similar profile. Everybody is not appearing the exam part 2 or PACES or any other exam. So I have this information or this idea in my mind. So don't mind those who are more advanced, mature candidate, mature doctor colleague that I am telling something very basic also. My request will be, please don't mind. So from here, what informations we like to gather to identify where is the lesion and what is the lesion. For any neurologic focusing, we have to have the information from these 4 major areas. Suppose this patient presented with the limb weakness. Actually, right-sided weakness means right upper limb and lower limb weakness. It is revealed in the lower sentences as well. So our medical term, it's hemiplegia or hemiparesis. So we have to have the informations as well of the cranial nerves also. Though there is a little cranial nerve information, you find that minimal right facial weakness. Okay, but above the cranial nerve, there is brainstem, cerebral cortex, cerebrum, and including cerebrum. In the cerebrum, there are many parts: cortex, right? And the inner side, very important area, basal ganglia. If you say the minutely, many other things, corpus callosum, there are internal capsule, many things are there. So we will talk not very minute thing. We will try to discuss our discussion today within the major area. Where is the lesion means? Is it in the within cerebrum? It is in the brainstem. It is in the spinal cord. It is in the peripheral nervous system. It will be our today's idea. If we can get the chance in course of time, we will be very minute in future classes. So after these 4 headlines, you already now calculate what are the informations you are getting and what could be the answer. But now I am telling some basic concept just as a reminder what we learned from our very basic medical education. So this is the pathway of the sensory system: first order, second order, and the third order neuron. By rule, second order neuron crosses midline if it is in the same level or in the upper level. Especially upper level means this is the fibers carrying the sensation of position vibration. We tell it dorsal column sensation. So from here in the upper area, and especially the brainstem, they just cross the midline and go up in the thalamus, the common site of the sensory relay, and then going to with the radiation to the cortex. So this is sensory pathway. And we will be talking with the limb weakness, especially. We will be busy today much more with the motor system. This is the motor pathway. Suppose the right side muscle, maybe in the limbs. So you have seen the patient having the weakness in the right side of the body. So suppose this is right upper limb or lower limb. So this is the tracking from cortex. This is the basal ganglia and going down in the lower part of pyramid, crossing the midline and coming here into the anterior horn cells. So this is the upper motor neuron. And from there, this is the upper motor neuron and this is lower motor neuron to the same side. So this is a very gross anatomy rather to say, to understand. And in the meantime, definitely we know the clinical features of upper motor neuron and the lower motor neuron. So just to give you a refreshing memory in your previous life, now going to the next slide. In the brainstem, the relations of cranial nerves, pons, medulla, and midbrain. Upper part is the midbrain, this is the pons, and this is medulla. So there are superior colliculus, inferior colliculus, you know. The cranial nerve attachment, those who are nearer to each other, it's very important anatomy to be known, because if any lesion happen to the 6th nerve, it will involve the 7th and the 8th. So to remember, it is very good idea to check the upper cranial nerve and the lower cranial nerve. Is it wrong or not? In general, to remember. Suppose you know one tumor here in the CP angle tumor, cerebellopontine angle, is the acoustic neuroma. It's very common tumor in the brain. So acoustic neuroma is the tumor of acoustic nerve. That means 8th cranial nerve. But as it is tumor, it is spreading. So when it spreads, it will involve nearby other tissues. So very practically, it can involve the 7th cranial nerve. It can involve the 9th cranial nerve. Even it can involve the 6th also, upper 1 or 2 together, because it is the anatomical proximity of the cranial nerves here. But it may not involve the 4th cranial nerve. It may be impractical. So this anatomy is very important. In course of time, you can utilize this information. If we realize the previous question, this is very basic broad heading. I just quoted from the textbook. Where is the lesion? What is the lesion? The first question will be, actually, this is the neurologic problem. And very often you can find that some functional presentation also happen in that manner. Certain laws of function of any part of the organ. So this is actually neurological or not. History and other surroundings can tell us. Even some neurologic examination also will tell us. You must know that how to differentiate functional disease from neurologic disease. It will be actually a different topic. So we will be today discussing with the neurologic issue only. And if it is the central nervous system involved or the peripheral nervous system involved, we will discuss in today's class. Sensory motor or the mixed problems are there. This is the where is the lesion? And second portion, what is the lesion? That means what pathologic issues are happening in that part of the nervous system. Is it infection? It is a vascular issue. It is due to trauma. Trauma definitely obvious from the history. It is a degenerative disease or even is a functional also. So what is the lesion is very important. This is our challenge today. So coming to the next one, how to evaluate the pathogenetic cause. That means what is the lesion? What is the lesion? Only history can guide you. Only history can help us to identify what is the lesion. Suppose, many of us, those who actually attended my previous talk in many sessions, that will like to analyze the symptom in OPD kits in that mnemonic. Many teachers can develop their own mnemonics. We follow OPD kits, means onset, progression, duration, then character, timing of the day, aggravating relieving factor, and the severity. And for the pain, we will add radiation one in addition only. So suppose if his onset is very sudden, within minutes, and progressing only hours, not after that, it could be very, very vascular one. Those we actually face in the word commonly cerebrovascular accidentation. But the similar presentation can happen in the nerve entrapment, maybe in the peripheral nervous system. So if we identify the disease in the peripheral nervous system, more commonly this is due to nerve entrapment. Many diseases, nerve entrapment, suppose carpal tunnel syndrome, tarsal tunnel syndrome, or any other area. And functional also could be very, very, very sudden. It is true. But we will be dealing with today this nerve entrapment or vascular disease. So this is very sudden appearance and halted after 1, 2, or 3 hours. The TIA is a matter of minutes in practice. If this is gradual, progress over days. Again, gradual progress over weeks or months. These are usually neoplastic disease or paraneoplastic features. Progress over days only. This is demyelination. About the Guillain-Barré syndrome. Very typical example. Post-infective inflammatory disease. So again, very, very long time progressing. And from birth, those are genetic disease. And those are not genetic disease in the elderly. One example, suppose Parkinson's disease. It is very degenerative disease. So many degenerative diseases happen in the nervous system. So from onset and progression and total duration of the event can help us to identify what is the possible causes of the lesion. That is what is the lesion. Okay, let's move now to again the previous given scenario. So again, you have checked the lower limb, upper limb, cranial nerves, and the cerebral function. Now, if we go through where is the lesion, could be lesion from muscle up to the cerebrum. So it is given here. Very carefully, please have a look. And my request will be to all of you, have a snapshot to keep in your mobile phone or the laptop screen. I believe it could be very helpful for you. And I have given some color contrast also in my sense, what could be the very important observation and practical observation. In my sense only, don't mind. It's not given from any book. So suppose this limb weakness you have seen in the right upper limb and lower limb, you can recall immediately we have shown. So it could be the problem in the muscle. It could be problem in the neuromuscular junction, maybe in the peripheral nerve, maybe in the spinal roots, maybe in the spinal cord, brainstem, or even the cerebrum. So we like here to actually to be able to scrutinize or differentiate in these major areas where is the lesion. Suppose the pattern of the presentation. So you can choose that. We already have seen the pattern of presentation is like this. Don't think that this is thalamic. We are not discussing about thalamic lesion. Very grossly, we are discussing about cerebral lesion, possibly in these patient having lesion in the cerebrum by looking at the pattern of presentation. The right side, all the features in the right side. It was not paraplegia, that these are the thing, the lower limb only weak, not the upper limb. So I am going to there. Don't worry. Just coming here, just you look at 8 years old male presented with acute right-sided weakness. From these words, what information we can gather? Suppose acute right-sided weakness means actually upper limb and lower limb weakness. And in the lower two sentences, they are given that the same side also facial weakness. So lesion where should be? Where should be the lesion? Now come here to the two picture. In the right side. In the right side. This is weak muscle. So again, the lesion may be here and there, here and there. It's very simple. If the patient only having the weakness in the lower limb, the upper limb is spared. So definitely lesion in the lower part of the spinal cord or the distal nerves. But here, as the patient presented with the facial weakness as well, facial weakness of the same side means here, just the right side. So cranial nerve also having the impact from the upper motor neuron from the superior part of the nervous system. So in the same side also facial nerve lesion, that means the cranial nerve distribution, upper limb, lower limb, both together. So lesion will be in the left side in the upper part of the nervous system, that is in the cerebrum. But many parts of the cerebrum, especially basal ganglia, can be involved here. Okay. So now it's very easy to understand that the lesion as the above the cranial nerve, and you see the facial having the very little weakness, so it is not the lower facial nerve lesion. That means lower, it is called that nuclear cranial nerve, or in generalized term, we can tell that lower motor lesion is not there, and it is in the same side. If it is the opposite side, it could be actually lower motor lesion in the cranial nerve distribution. We will come to that topic again. So lesion in the brain now. So there are many parts of the brain: cerebral cortex, this is internal capsule, anterior limb, posterior limb, not visible, and the basal ganglia also. Anyway, from this picture, we can identify the lesion in the left cerebral hemisphere. Left cerebral hemisphere. So again, for your kind reminder, really, I have given this box. If it is in the cerebral issue, so patient might have abnormal mental status. So history can tell us when we are talking to the patient, we can understand that patient having abnormal mental status. Patient might have cognitive problem. Patient might. So this patient actually presented in these red mark word unilateral weakness. But definitely, shortly it is written, there should be some sensory problem as well. Hemisensory loss, hemimotor loss of the limbs, including head. Head means rather to say face. Patient might have visual abnormalities, so these are not much important in the real practice. For that I didn't mark. But if the disease in the basal ganglia, definitely you could expect that there should be some abnormal motor movement like tremor, chorea, hemibelismus, and other also. So this basal ganglia headline is not given here. It's covered by cerebrum only. So if it is the brainstem lesion, there could be cross paralysis. That means opposite cranial nerve weakness in the right side, limb weakness, but it is not that phenomenon. So this is cerebral lesion. Where is the lesion? This is cerebral lesion. Now, what is our next question? Next question is, what is the lesion? What is the lesion means what is the pathogenic lesion in the brain, in the cerebrum. So this is again for your reminder, the grade box in the neurology. What is the lesion? So this is the, what is the lesion. Now come there. What is the lesion? How to identify? Already I have told. Acute. Now give attention to the word acute and the 80 years old male. So 80 years old male means there may be neoplastic disease or vascular disease. Suppose at the age of 80 is a neoplastic age, proliferative age. But tumor, neoplasm grows very slowly. So look at here in this I am moving the cursor. Neoplastic disease progress over weeks to months. So it's very less likely that patient having tumor in the left cerebrum, but patient presented very acutely. So it could be in these row. Stable patient, weakness there is a matter of minutes to hours. So what could be the possibility? Vascular disease, nerve entrapment, and the functional. But as we identified the lesion in the cerebrum, so there is no nerve that it could be entrapped. Nerve entrapment is a matter of peripheral nerves. So more likely for acuteness of the presentation, it could be vascular disease really. So in the meantime, anybody, please, if you want to discuss also, you can keep your hand raising. I will see there in the box. So until now, I believe that I am able to make you understand that it's acute disease for the vascular lesion happen in the left cerebrum. I think up to this it's clear. Now there are some other questions also. I am taking a little more time here in this part. In other scenarios, I will take very less time. Initially, I am taking a little more. So what could be our summary? Our summary, can you see in the lower part of this slide, that it could be TIA if it is not crossing 24 hours, though it's not mentioned here. It could be stroke. Altogether, we term as cerebral vascular accident. It could be subdural hematoma. It could be hypoglycemia also. Very interestingly, hypoglycemia may present with focal neurologic disease. It could be sudden as well. It's exceptional thing. So we are dealing today with the organic brain disease. So in the left cerebrum, it could be subdural hematoma. You see, 8 years old male, it could be. But subdural hematoma, we would have some history also, lucid interval, history of fall on and off sometimes may not be as well, history of fall. But here, patient was okay and suddenly it happened. So it could be more likely TIA or stroke. So in summary, we can say it's cerebrovascular accident. But our story is not finished here. We have to go further a little more also. What is that? Which artery is the most likely to have been affected? Can anybody say, can you write which artery is affected? Anterior cerebral, middle cerebral, posterior cerebral, communicating artery. Can you write, please? Yes, good. Someone have written. Okay, doctor, thank you. We have understood your answer. I am discussing now how to reach this. How to reach this summary that this artery is affected. Let's move. So just have a look, refresh your memory. In the lower part of the brain, base of the brain, rather to say that the arterial distribution is as such. In the lower part, this is the circle of Willis. It is circle of Willis. From here, basilar artery divided in that manner. So this is anterior cerebral artery. Just have a look, anterior cerebral artery supplying this medial part of the cerebral hemisphere. Medial part as well as a little lateral part. I will show the picture a little later. So again, it's a very simpler circle of Willis. These are the branches. The right side picture is very important. We divide the stroke in the anterior and the posterior. Anterior means the source is carotid artery. Posterior means vertebrobasilar artery. So it is called the carotid circulation, and this is called vertebrobasilar circulation. This territory includes midbrain, pons, medulla. That is brainstem, including cerebellum, and the posterior part, especially the visual cortex. So there should be some presentation difference as well. And very simply try to remember that posterior circulation problem, if a patient has, the patient will have ataxia, vertigo, vomiting. Especially the vertigo is very, very important. It's very, very important in the posterior circulation stroke. And anterior, there is very, very big lobes are there, especially the frontal lobe. So patient will have some problem of high intellectual issues, you know, the functions of the frontal lobe for the real human being. Other than in the posterior part, this is visual area as well as very common symptom is vertigo. You know, the imbalance. Imbalance is actually controlled by cerebellum and some cranial nerves, especially the auditory nerve. So patient may have this vertigo very commonly. Okay, now come there. Again, the lower part of the brain, just I marked before. This color indicates the supply area of anterior cerebral artery. So this is the medial surface of the cerebral hemisphere. This is the anterior cerebral artery. So this is the lateral surface of the brain. You see, only we tell that one finger breadth is supplied by anterior cerebral artery. The remaining part, the big area, is the middle cerebral artery. And the remaining white area is posterior cerebral artery. Just imagine your basic anatomy in your first year, second year. This is the medial surface. This is lateral surface. So come now the remaining part now, how to identify the focal area of the brain. You know that this is homunculus. In the right side, this is sensory areas, almost similar with the motor areas. In the left side is the motor area. So where are we dealing with? We are dealing the limb weakness, lower limb. We are dealing the upper limb weakness. And we are dealing a little, you can remember the minimal facial weakness. We are dealing little here. Okay. So you can remember the question again. Please look at the lower part of the screen. Which part is more weak? It is mentioned here, the lower limb, globally weak. Global weakness in the right leg, lower limb. Minimum weakness in the face and the upper limb with a relative preservation of right hand strength. What does it mean? It means that the patient's right lower limb is weaker than the upper limb and the cranial nerve supplying area. So in the homunculus, as we understand that the lower limb is supplied by this area of the brain, especially the medial surface. So definitely problem is here. Problem is here. That means brain is suffering from arterial disease of this area. So in the anatomy, we know that this area is supplied by anterior cerebral artery. So now answer is very clear to us. Which artery is involved? And the answer will be anterior cerebral artery. The down. I have shown in the down. So the doctor who answered very nicely. Thank you very much again that you could able to identify where is the lesion, especially not only in the brain, the artery also we now detected as well. So we now completed our journey. In this case, especially the anterior cerebral artery is in problem. So this is the summary of that really. So may I request you, if you have any query, you can raise and I will give you the chance to talk 1 or 2 minutes, please. Okay. Please, anybody, you can raise your hand. You will get your mic to talk. I'm just actually kept you muted to avoid the noises, please. Nobody to ask. Thank you. I believe that you understood well. So we are going to the next topic, please. So now we already finished the localizing area is the cerebrum. So now how to identify the remaining part of the nervous system in the coming session. Sorry, a little more also in the cerebral lesion, the how a patient of decerebrate and decorticate patient present. This is the appearance. You just make a snapshot for your kind reminder. I will not describe or explain this much more. It is called decerebrate rigidity. Rigidity as because it is upper motor neuron lesion, and decorticate rigidity. By the look in the word, you can identify that this is decerebrate and decorticate. Definitely, cerebrate patient prognostically bent. Decorticate means only cerebral cortex is in problem. That's right. Okay. So jumping to the next question. Now we will be a little swifter. So another case number 2. Please have a look. So now I am requesting now Dr. Mahabub, please be with me. Just help me. If you finish your reading, please let me know. Where is Dr. Mahabub? I am giving the mic to you, please. Okay. Please unmute it, Dr. Mahabub.
Yes, sir.
Please be unmuted. Sorry. Just on behalf of everybody, you just read by yourself and let me know that you finished your talk. Try to understand from here where could be the lesion and what could be the lesion. I will tell a few minutes more also on this scenario. So always try to identify the lower limb features, upper limb features, cranial nerve distribution features and the brain. That means brainstem and the cerebrum issues. So cranial nerve feature means actually brainstem. So above the brainstem is cerebrum. So try to identify four major areas of abnormalities here. I think reading finished, Dr. Mahbub?
Yes, sir.
Good. So now
Yes,
coming
sir.
to the discussion, what could be actually brought in broad heading? So I tried my best to give you some clues here. This patient is 8 years old girl, is a baby. So in the neurology, if it is baby, without looking the remaining part, what you are thinking? Baby might be having some congenital disease. Could be
Yes, sir.
congenital disease. Could be
Yes, sir.
congenital disease. Now, coming to the second part of the mass, the baby's mother was non-consanguineous parents. So there is less chance of hereditary disease, is not it? Because there is no non-consanguineous parents. They are not married in the close nearest relative. So very less chance of the hereditary or rather to say congenital disease. How the patient presented? Spasm,
Um,
aortic spasm with progressive weakness of right side of the body. So this is progressive weakness. It is not right to stroke. Before that, there was arterial occlusion. There will vascular phenomena because it is a matter of 6 months. But there is right-sided means focal issue. So focal issue means the doctor might be confused with the stroke if we don't take the history duration of the presentation. So it's a matter of 6 months. It's a matter of months, not the hours or the day even month. So it is not vascular even. We can get some idea from there. And it is not a hereditary disease. Patient have history of measles 8 months back. May be related with the measles issue. Measles issue. Now, come to the gross neurologic finding. Patient having hemiplegia. Hemiplegia means in the right side. So patient having the problem in the upper limb and the lower limb, including the cranial nerve area phase also. Deep tendon reflexes are exaggerated, you understand well. Plantar extensor and the clonus also present typical upper motor neuron lesion. If I mark here, it is typical upper motor neuron lesion and it is above the upper limb also. There is no information in the, there is information in the cranial nerve.
enough.
These are intact. So as the cranial nerve intact, so it is not lesion in the brainstem. It is lesion now above the brainstem. Where? Again in the cerebrum, in the
Cerebral.
big box area. Now question is, if it is a big box area, interestingly they said that sensory examination normal. Very fantastic. One thing. Second thing, patient having myoclonic spasm, abnormal movement. So abnormal movement is not a matter of cerebral cortex. Abnormal movement is a matter of basal ganglia.
Basal ganglia.
Basal ganglia. So apparently where we are actually focusing the lesion, Dr. Mahbub?
The basal ganglia.
This is the basal ganglia. Could be basal ganglia. Now we got the area involved is the basal ganglia. So we got the where is the lesion? Now what is the lesion, Dr. Mahbub? Can you answer?
It may be consequence of the encephalitis.
Encephalitis is a general actually terminology. Whole brain is involved. It is encephalitis, no doubt. But patient having focal feature, so it's less likely of encephalitis. You know the consequence of measles is what is the name of that? Subacute panencephalitis, right?
Yes, sir.
Maybe.
Sir, I have mentioned that it is a consequence of encephalitis. That means panencephalitis.
Later, maybe that basal ganglia is involved. But now patient presented with the focal feature of the right side, lateralizing feature. So lesion in the left side,
Yes,
and it is a brainstem lesion, and it is not a vascular issue. I think I made you all of you clear. It is not a vascular issue. It is not a stroke because it is a progressive weakness for the last 6 months, and it is they are having the periodic myoclonic spasm. So it is a degenerative disease in the brain. Though patient having the child, she could have actually hereditary or congenital disease, but unfortunately, this baby is suffering from the consequence of the measles. subacute encephalitis, right? And lately,
Yes, sir.
patient having some other neurologic phenomena might be there, but what happened to the basal ganglia? The degeneration affected the basal ganglia. So where is the lesion? The basal ganglia. So how neurology could be easier? I think you could understand now. So again, remind this box, the big box I have given to you. Thank you, Dr. Mahbub. So
Sir,
this,
actually, sir,
please.
actually, it is also mentioned here that she has hemiplegia, which also means that she has pathology in the cerebral cortex.
No. You see that the fibers are crossing the basal ganglia here. Here is the
Yes, sir.
internal capsule, anterior limb, posterior limb. So the lesion
Yes,
only not involving very specifically in the basal ganglia, rather lesion involving the tract going down as well. So there the limb fibers are there concentrated near the basal ganglia, you know. The internal capsule is
yes, sir.
very
Yes, sir.
compact area, control the limbs. So the disease process involving the basal ganglia as well as the internal capsule. But the area name I mentioned is basal ganglia area. Lesion is there.
Yes,
But
sir.
involvement is for upper motor neuron as well. But
Yes,
sometimes,
sir.
you are right, Dr. Mahbub, sometimes it happens that patient may not have limb weakness. Patient only having abnormal movement like chorea, athetosis. Patient does
Yes,
not
sir.
have limb weakness. See, in that case, only the basal ganglia is involved. But here, basal ganglia as well as the downgoing fiber tracts also involved in the internal capsule because again, they are in the anatomical proximity. Clear now? Good, Dr. Mahbub.
Yes, sir.
Thank you
Thank
very
you,
much.
sir.
Thank you. If anybody willing to be volunteer like me, please, you can raise your hand. Don't mind. I have to choose if you want. Okay, going to the next case. If you have any query, you can raise your hand as well as you can write in the chat box. So look at this, Priya. Again, another one. Please, anybody to be volunteer, can you raise your hand, please? If no one, I can go with everybody. So read please by yourself few minutes. Interestingly, I like to actually ask someone who I know well, but if you feel shy or somehow conservative, I am not asking someone. May I, Dr. Anwar Said, please? Can you be with me? Dr. Anwar Said. Oh, sorry, Dr. Hasib. Okay, Anwar, please. Please. Dr. Hasib is here, I think. Dr. Hasib raised the hand. I'm giving chance.
Yes, doctor.
Yes, Dr. Hasib, welcome. So please, have you read the scenario?
No, still.
Okay, please be with the scenario. So I will try to give the chance everyone, please, but don't mind that if I cannot give many of you. We will discuss few cases more also. Dr. Hasib, if you finish your reading, please let me know. Then I will come to my discussion. I will not ask you the answer right now. Just it is exam question like for that I am presenting as such. In your MRCP exam, they ask in that manner. That this type of question and what is your diagnosis like that. You just finish your reading. And if you don't understand the message from the question, I am here to explain you, please. Dr. Hasib. If you don't understand, you can write in the chat box quickly also the meaning of this theme. I think finished, Dr. Hasib. You are done. Hello, Dr. Hasib. Can you follow? Dr. Hasib, can you follow me? Dr. Hasib, can you hear? Dr. Hasib, sorry, he's gone. Somehow went down. May I ask Dr. Hafiz Tahir Usman?
Yes, doctor, I'm with you.
Yes, thank you. Name like me also, Congratulations, please. So I like to ask, tell you, Dr. Hafiz, please. I think you have finished reading, right?
Yes, doctor, the lesion
Okay,
is
I'm not asking the answer, please. Control yourself.
sorry?
I'm not asking the answer. We will be discussing a little for that. I'm not asking the answer. You just be with me. Okay, follow me, please. A 47-year-old patient is a middle-aged, rather to say, patient having diabetes, patient attended in the emergency department, remember. So, patient possibly having acute presentation. Emergency department means acute presentation. Presentation with the dizziness, vomiting. Remember, dizzy means you understand. Sorry, I like to mute you, please. There is okay, sorry. Just muted everyone. If you need, I will call. And patient alert oriented means patient cerebrum is okay. Patient cerebrum is okay. Alert oriented. Irregularly regular pulse means patient having cardiovascular disease. So you know the relationship of the cardiovascular system to the nervous system. Patient having nystagmus on the left lateral gaze and speech is slurred. In examination of the patient, we find that patient having tremor, especially the intention tremor and fast pointing. Patient is ataxic when mobilized. Mobilized means he tried to walk. So you found the patient ataxic. I think most of the doctor knows what is the diagnosis, I believe. But how perfectly we know it, I like my best to make you understand now. So here, you know that the answer may be someone else here, right? So come here. Very interesting thing is that in the presentation, any hemiplegia is not mentioned. Can you see? Is any muscle is weak here? No. No. So in the diagnosis of the disease, actually in that diagnosis, patient does not have any muscle weakness. But what patient having? In common word, incoordination. In general word, incoordination. Everywhere is incoordination. Nystagmus is incoordination. Speech is in incoordination. Intention, tremor, first pointing, ataxia, all are incoordination. So this incoordination issue is very, very suggestive of cerebellar disease, you know it well. Cerebellar disease. So there are some other alternative options. In the right panel, they have given the explanation. If you make a snapshot, this is okay for everybody. I will not detail from here. So it's cerebellar lesion, there is no doubt. But now the question, again, what are the lesion, you know? Vascular lesion, inflammatory lesion, degenerative lesion, traumatic lesion. So what could be the type of the lesion here? Can you write in the chat box? Can you write, please, anyone? Then I will proceed after a few seconds. Don't you understand? Dr. Yusra Nabil, you like to talk? Please, you can tell. Sorry. You got down. I cannot give the voice to someone here. You can write in the chat box, please. Minimum 1 or 2. So what would be actually correct answer here? If you identify it is cerebellar lesion, rather to be very vaguely, you can identify this is the answer. Maybe this is the answer B, CVS cerebrovascular accident. But why cerebrovascular accident? What information is there to tell that it is a vascular lesion? Yes, many clues are here. Many clues are here. I got in the chat box many things. That it could be vascular occlusion as patient having irregular pulse. So it's an atrial fibrillation patient. Atrial fibrillation patient, more likely this is cerebrovascular accident and it is infarction of the cerebellum. So very nice answer from you. Thank you very much. I think we should not be busy with. Just to remind you, a mnemonic to remember the cerebellar features, dashing. You can remember this. But very interesting information is that there is no weakness. But in the lower limb examination, you may get hypotonia. Hypotonia like lower motor type neuron lesion. But don't be confused with the lower motor type neuron lesion because there will be no weakness. Muscle strength is normal. With other cerebellar findings, it is very easy to diagnose that this is a cerebral lesion. It may be hemorrhage, it may be infarction. And obviously in the hemorrhagic patient, as this is in the part near the brainstem, the cerebellum will be swollen a little and it can press brainstem. If hemorrhagic cerebellar lesion, very often patient will be unconscious. Very often patient will be unconscious. It is additional information for cerebellar hemorrhagic patient. So this information also given here, and how to evaluate further, it is given. It is not the matter detailed today. So hemorrhage, we have to be actually identified by what imaging is best here. Just academic question. What imaging is best here if you suspect cerebellum? Can you write please? Imaging of the patient, imaging of the head, CT, MRI, or any other investigation. Which one be better? If it is we think the cerebellar. Somebody say CT scan. Somebody MRI. Actually, MRI is the answer. Thank you. Brainstem, cerebellum lesion, and the spinal cord best evaluated by MRI, not CT scan. Remember forever, please. And Dr. Mamun is willing to ask or discuss something. Certainly, Dr. Mamun. Sorry, wrongly you raised the hand. Or are you willing? Are you willing to talk something? Sorry, up and down I cannot control. Dr. Mamun, would you like to?
Yeah, sir, can you hear me?
Yes, please.
Oh, just I wanted to say MRI. Just okay.
Oh, that's right. MRI is the imaging of choice for the
Choice for posterior
fossa,
Yeah.
cerebellum, and the brainstem.
Yeah.
This is the question. Okay. So case 4. Sorry, somebody raised the hand. Now I am not looking. So I am giving again the scenario. Please, anybody be voluntarily raise your hand. Don't mind, please. Don't feel shy, and pardon me if I cannot control, because many of you can raise the hand. Dr. Hasib, please. You couldn't complete before. Dr. Hasib, can you hear me? Sorry. Dr. Hasib, can you hear me? Sorry, I'm taking a few seconds for Dr. Hasib. Everybody in the meantime, please go through. Yes, Dr. Hasib, your mic is on now. Can you talk? Sorry.
Yes, doctor.
Sorry, I'm sorry. The previous time I could not control well, maybe.
Yes, doctor, I'm with you.
Please. So please go reading with this. Again, try to get the informations in the lower limb, upper limb, cranial nerves, and the brain. It's a broad heading. It's very simpler. So where is the lesion actually? Try to identify. Again, patient having the drooping of the left side of the heart face, maybe in the cranial nerve area. Definitely cranial nerve issue. Inability to close her left eye. That means in the same side. Previous history of viral illness 1 week before. No past medical history. Patient is not suffering from any other chronic illness like heart disease, diabetes, high blood pressure. That means it is not maybe in the arterial disease like that. So patient having left 7th nerve palsy, remaining cranial nerves normal. It is very important information here. Power tone reflexes are normal in the limbs. So now the question is, where is the lesion? So I tried to give you the key words here. Reflexes are normal in the limbs. So Dr. Hasib with me, what can we guess that this is in the peripheral nerve here? What do you think?
Yes, this is peripheral. This is Bell's palsy. Very simple.
You know, everybody I know, but peripheral nerve means I'm asking about the spinal nerves. Sorry, I'm asking in a erroneous way. Is it the disease in the spinal nerves? No. So again, is it the disease in the spinal cord, Dr. Hasib? No. Why not?
With no other lesion.
No means what lesions are not there? Why not a spinal cord disease? Because patient having no problem in the upper limb and lower limb. Upper limb supplied by the cervical spinal cord, lower limb supplied by the lumbar spinal thoraco, right? So chest in the thorax, whatever it is you say in the anatomically, as the limbs are normal neurologically, so disease is not in the spinal cord. So above the spinal cord. Now come to the brainstem. Facial nerve coming from the brainstem. So why not this is brainstem disease, Dr. Hasib? Why you are telling this is Bell's palsy? Bell's palsy is a lower motor type lesion in the peripheral nerve. Why not in the central nervous system? Can you explain?
No other lesion with the facial nerve.
Especially which other lesion? Again, there is no limb feature, right? As the brain tracts are coming down from the upper part to the down. So if it is the brainstem lesion, it will involve not only the cranial nerve, it will involve the lower going tract as well. So upper motor feature should be expected in the lower limb. And as well as in the upper limb. I think it's very clear. If it is the lesion in the brainstem, definitely the tract is in problem. The tract going down, motor tract. So as there is no limb features, so it is brainstem though is in the problem, but it is only attending or the focusing the area where the facial nerve coming out. Coming out means it is not very practical that only one nucleus of the facial nerve is involved in the brainstem. Any disease process targeting minutely, not like that. It is impractical. So this is actually a lesion outside the central nervous system, and there are some other presentation also helping us. What is that? The drooping of the left side of the face, as well as inability to close her left eye. I think you know, many of you know that we divide the face into two parts, upper face, lower face. If the upper face, including the eyelid and the forehead is involved, weak, so it is very, very features of the lower motor neuron features. That means the facial nerve issue. And only the single nerve is in problem. I have shown you in the middle part of the picture. I've shown the picture before also. You see that here is the facial nerve. Here is the facial nerve. So very close proximity with the acoustic nerve and other nerve. You see facial nerve, sixth nerve also here, eighth nerve also. So facial nerve is actually what I say sandwich. If any disease process, progressing disease is here, definitely including the facial nerve, there would be the problem for sixth nerve and the eighth nerve as well. But it is very clean cut that only single facial nerve is in problem. Again, what could be the etiology? The previous viral illness. So this viral illness followed by the facial nerve disease is very, very diagnostic of Bell's palsy. We know that the undergraduate student also know the answer, but how much clear the picture with us? I tried my best to actually make understand. So thank you, Dr. Asif, to be volunteer in this time. Thank you.
You are welcome, doctor.
Okay, now coming to the next another issue, please. Please, I expect that other doctor will volunteer here. So this is the next case. Anybody to be volunteer? So will be the earlier, I will give the chance to him or her, please. If anybody wishes of this scenario. Don't mind that if you cannot answer, no problem. It is just to help me in the discussion, to make the session interactive. So now Dr. Anwar Said is here. Okay, Dr. Anwar Said, please be unmuted.
Thank you, sir.
Welcome. So go through this. If you finish your reading, please let me know. Anybody can stop me in the middle. Don't. I will not mind, please. You just raise your hand. I will be attentive to your hand. Anyone, please. If you need to explain something here.
So this is where is the lesion? This is the lesion is in the spinal cord.
I'm not asking question. You just have a look, please. Side, no need to. So proceed, please. Now try to identify the keywords. If Dr. Anna said you have any further keywords, also you can tell me. It is from my ideation only. It's an 18-year-old female. It is not elderly again. So this is not the malignant age also. And
Yes.
3 days history of progressive weakness. So it is not the matter of hours. So very, very suddenness is the vascular lesion. It is not very sudden
Yes.
or not very for short time. It is 3 days, not very less time. And progressive weakness, it is not halted. Vascular lesion, halted over 5 or 6 hours. Numbness, that means patient having the sensory problem in the legs, okay, as
Yes.
well as urinary retention and the back pain for 2 weeks following an upper respiratory tract. Seems to be that it may be a post-infective disease.
Yes.
Post-infective disease.
Post-infective inflammatory disease.
Maybe inflammatory disease. Many of you know the answer, but be with me, please. Don't tell your answer now. On examination, there is spastic paraparesis. So this is not hemiplegia. This is paraparesis. So lesion should not be, as this is a spastic paraparesis, lesion could be including upper limb also. If it is the lesion above the cervical spinal cord, suppose.
Yes.
But why this is a spinal cord, I will give you the box again to remember. There are some features. So again, coming to there, it is clear that this is CNS lesion, okay?
Yes.
But in the box, again, The pictures are reminding you that there are some features including the sphincters, urinary retention, more
And
commonly.
sensory level.
Okay, there is in addition in the later part, there is sensory level. Extensor plantar bilaterally. Actually, it is echoing the spastic paraparesis. Cranial nerves, upper limbs normal. It is very easy to understand that this is actually below the area of the upper limb spinal cord and the cranial nerve distribution origin in the brainstem. So the lesion actually in the lower part of the spinal cord, and the very, very common feature when the sphincters are involved, especially usually lesion in the spinal cord. And very critical or very hard information is sensory level. You know that
Yes,
how
sir.
to identify the sensory level. This is T5 level. T5 means the spinal thoracic segment T5. So below is in the problem. So it is the paraplegia, and you can see in the picture as well that it is the lesion here, the spinal cord. So very, very feature is the sensory level. It is very easy. So what could be the answer now? Now, what is the lesion? It is the tumor of the spinal cord. It is the neoplastic disease of the spinal cord. It is the degeneration of the spinal cord. It is the inflammatory process of the spinal cord. Oh, somebody mark annotated, eh? Please remove
So
the.
this is a post-infective inflammatory process. So
So
post-infectious transverse myelitis.
I think so. I think everybody agree with the diagnosis. Very fantastically, this is post-infectious transverse myelitis. Transverse myelitis. It is not any disc prolapse or something because patient does not have any deformity in the spine. So it's very common cases also your future PACES exam also. This type of cases very, very, very often selected in the PACES exam in the neurology station. So this concept should be clear. This concept should be clear. So I think I may proceed to the next case. So this is the description.
Yes.
No need. No need. Thank you, Dr. Anwar Sai.
Thank you, sir.
Okay. So coming to the another case, please. One or two cases remaining. So this is the case, please. Any volunteer, please. Welcome. Please raise your hand. Without looking the scenario, just to be with me in the discussion, interaction. Anyone, please? Dr. Hasib again. Nobody taking the chance for that. Okay, Dr. Hasib, no problem. You go through. Just only read and tell me the finish. No need to discuss. I will discuss in the subsequent slide. If you finish your reading, please let me know. Again, try to identify. Keep the answer in your mind. Please don't write in the comment box. Okay, Dr. Asif, finished?
Yes, doctor.
Fantastic. So now the keywords to you, please, for the remaining candidates. I think you already identified the keywords here. Again, have a look. This is again emergency patient. Patient presented acutely, definitely. Otherwise, why? Patient attended in emergency department. So could it be vascular lesion? Maybe. I have shown you before that where is the lesion is the vascular lesion. The suddenness is the vascular lesion. But if it is not in the central nervous system, it may not be vascular lesion. It may be something else. So severe pain in his lower back after lifting a heavy box at work. So patient having the back pain after lifting, you know the process, how it is happening. Pain is radiating to his right buttock and the thigh. No urinary symptom. So no urinary symptom means excluding what, Dr. Hasib?
Excluding
Spinal cord lesion.
spinal cord.
Spinal
Yes.
cord lesion. This is the main attention, spinal cord lesion. So where is the lesion? Is it above the spinal cord or down the spinal cord? Now exam.
The,
SLR 90. Let me finish my explanation, please. First question, then you will answer. SLR 90 degree in the left side, but 30 degree restricted into the 30 degree in the right side. So right-sided pain and the restricted SLR. So there may be some musculoskeletal ligamental issue as well, or disc issue as well maybe. Sciatic nerve stretch test is positive. Plantar flex, this difficulty in the plantar flexing in his right ankle, so musculoskeletal problem. Abnormal sensation on the plantar aspect of the foot. So what is the dermatome of it? I think already somebody, Dr.
S1.
Eric has read S1. So is it disease of the central nervous system or peripheral nervous system? Dr. Asif.
Peripheral nervous system.
Peripheral nervous system. Now, peripheral nervous system start from the roots, nerves in the neuromuscular junction, ending at the muscle. So where is the lesion now? There is no sensory disturbance as well. Dr. Hasif, please.
Yes.
Where is the lesion now?
There is no sensory disturbance in the breath.
No, there is no other sensory disturbance, but patient having the pain. It is not that no sensory disturbance, patient having only pain. So pain fiber is in problem and pain is radiating. Pain is radiating. So where is the lesion?
It is
Outside the spine.
root vein.
Root. You mean that this is in the root? So this is here?
Yes.
In the lower part. I am just moving my cursor. Please look at. This is the motor root rather, including the sensory root also. So something compressing here, both nerve roots. Otherwise, why patient having pain? So what could be the etiology here really, Dr. Hasib, in this whole
This
scenario?
compression.
Possibly disc,
Compression.
maybe disc prolapse. Disc compression to the root, possibly due to disc prolapse maybe. So it is in the peripheral nervous system. Patient does not have any lower limb neurologic other feature. Patient does not have upper limb feature. Patient does not have cranial nerve area feature. Patient does not have any cerebral issue also. All are okay. But it happened urgently. Is it a vascular issue or entrapment? Dr. Azib? Is it vascular or entrapment? Yes. Is it entrapment or vascular problem?
Entrapment, though.
Entrapment, really. So this is also acute in the peripheral nervous system, means entrapment. So this is actually the disc prolapse, especially L5S1, according to the dermatomal presentation of the sensation here. So it is L5S1 disc prolapse and compressing the roots. So very, very nice answer. Thank you, Dr. Asif. Thank you very much.
Thank you, doctor.
Okay. So this is a summary of this presentation a little. No need to go through detail. Okay. So now the next case. Who will the volunteer get ready, please? Go through. In the meantime, Dr. Mamoon will be. Okay, welcome, Dr. Mamoon. Be unmuted. You can interact with me.
Yes, sir.
Please go through. Only reading. Don't give the answer. In the subsequent slide, the slides will be explanatory. Don't give the answer. You just go through and give the chance everybody to read.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I think many of you now gazing that, yes, I know the answer. This is the answer. This is the answer. Let us see how many of you know the correct answer.
Yes, sir.
Just enjoy the session. I think reading is finished. It's very easy.
Yes, sir.
Anatomy
Yes, sir.
question in the second year study of medical studentship. First year or second year. Anyway, this loss of sensation, you mean that? So Dr. Mamoon now can tell.
Yeah. Yes, sir.
Only whatever I ask, then you will answer. Definitely there is a nerve is in problem, not in the central nervous system, right? What do you think?
Right.
The disease is not in the central nervous system. This is in the
It
peripheral.
is just a relation of the peripheral nervous system.
So again, asking it is a root problem or the nerve problem or the neuromuscular junction problem or the muscle problem. What do you think?
It's a nerve problem.
Nerve problem, because there is no radicular pain, radiating pain,
Radicular vein, right?
right? Moving
right.
pain is not there. So it is a nerve, and specific distribution of the nerve is given here. In the upper limb, radial nerve, ulnar nerve, musculoskeletal nerve are there, the major nerves. So definitely this is a median nerve lesion. I think there is no confusion. I believe that all of you know that this is a median nerve lesion. There is no doubt. If anybody confused, you can ask me, please raise your hand if you have any other answer. So now the question is, what is the answer of the correct answer from these 5? I'm not asking Dr.
This is
Mamoon.
my
No, Dr. Mamoon. I'm
D.
asking everybody.
I think
I'm asking everybody.
I think this is 3D, option D.
Option D.
Yeah.
Any other?
Entrapment.
Entrapment. Any other please? Can you write? Can you write?
Or compressive, maybe.
Hagi, you answer D. Anybody answering other than D? A, yes. Somebody answer A. Right. I like to see more also. A, good. I'm just waiting for a second. I think many of you are writing A. So this is a democracy. Everybody maximum A. Somebody 4A. Okay, good. D, I think, yes. D. Now becoming.
Here is clearly.
Mamoon, please be silent. Mamoon. Keep silent, please. D. Somebody A, somebody D. So this is the challenge for you. Now let me give me a chance to say something here. Very intelligently, Dr. Mamoon selected the answer D, but very traditionally we make the answer A in our study. Things are there. Question is, where is the lesion? But it is very easy to identify what is the lesion. Lesion is in the median nerve.
Yeah.
The nerve is in problem, but median nerve, the course of the median nerve, anywhere median nerve in problem. So clinically, Phalens and the Tinel's test are negative.
Negative.
So those who given the answer A, now you can realize could it be the answer or not. Okay. Funnel sign, you know, tapping there, flexing the wrist and extending the wrist and check any burning or abnormal sensation felt in the fingers or not. This is, though it is not 100%, but clinically in the question setup, we may think that this is not in the carpal tunnel.
Right.
But traditionally, this is the commonest cause for that. We are thinking that median nerve lesion, oh, median nerve lesion, it's a carpal tunnel. But it is not true. It is not true. So where is the lesion? Lesion above the carpal tunnel. Lesion above the carpal tunnel.
That carpal tunnel,
The
right.
clues, what are the clues here? Pain in the right arm when twisting doors anti-clockwise. The problem is the pronation and supination. So there is a pronator teres muscle within which the median nerve tremors through. So if any lesion or pathology happen in the pronator teres muscle, median nerve will be in problem. So where is the lesion? Lesion in the pronator teres muscle.
That is
very good. Okay, doctor, please remove this annotation. Those who given the annotation, please remove by self. So I think things are very clear, Dr. Mamoon. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Thank you. So this is a pronator teres syndrome. I think those who may be in the part 1 still, you may not hear the word. So it is very important for you. As carpal tunnel is very traditional, the question may come with this diagnosis, pronator teres syndrome. Okay, thank you very much. So someone, please remove your annotation, please. Okay, thank you. Now, next question, please. Any other volunteer, please? Raise your hand. All of you, please go through. Is any volunteer? Any volunteer? Dr. Hafiz Tahir, please. Better I select you as you couldn't get chance before. Dr. Hafiz Tahir. I'm giving you the mic, please. Huh? Can you hear me, Dr. Hafiz? Be unmuted. Dr. Hafiz, be unmuted.
Yes.
Be unmuted by yourself.
Exactly. I've got myself unmuted.
Hello,
yes, sir.
Dr. Hafiz Tahir. Can you hear?
Oh, sorry.
Yes, sir. Yes.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Okay. So, if you finish your reading, please let me know. We are near the end. Don't mind. Don't worry. A few minutes also we will be taking only. We are near the end. Dr. Hafiz, if you say finish, then I will come to the next slide. Please help me. I am not asking answer. Please don't give the answer in the comment box. If you are biased, the discussion will not be good. Don't give the answer, please, now. You just have the information in your mind. I know most of you, many of you know the answer, but today's session to create the understanding. This is my desire, really. Please help us also.
Yes.
Finish. So, what will be the core informations? In my understanding, these are the core informations. These are the red mark core informations. Okay. So could it be the central nervous system, Dr. Hafiz, or peripheral nervous system? Dr. Hafiz Tahir, is it in the
Yes, yes.
is it in the CNS lesion or peripheral nervous system lesion?
Looks like CNS, sir.
Why you are thinking? Because patient having the limb weakness, difficulty raising
Yeah.
his arms, ascending stairs. What about the jars? What about upper motor and lower motor features? Is there any? Patient having proximal
Yes,
weakness.
absent,
Proximal weakness.
absent tendon reflexes.
Yes, it could be lower motor type neuron lesion, right?
Yes.
So, if absent tendon reflexes in the upper limb or lower limb, both together, is a very great calculation. Be with me, Dr. Hafiz. If it
Yes,
is
sir.
the absent tendon reflex, so lower motor lesion in the lower limb, lower motor lesion in the upper limb. So where is the lesion? Above the upper limb area. Above the upper limb area means brainstem or the cerebrum, right?
Okay.
Okay. So is there any features of the brainstem? No.
No.
There is no cranial nerve lesion here. This is one thing. Is there any features of the cerebellum? It is impossible usually that bilateral cerebral disease happening and causing the quadriplegia. It is rather very impractical. Usually cerebral disease causes hemiplegia, focal lesion. Only metabolic issue can cause it, right? Diabetes, hypoglycemia, hyponatremia, hypoxia. It can cause the all four limbs issue. So disease is not in the brain, disease is not in the brainstem, disease is not in the spinal cord, and disease is not in the specific nerve also, because all four limbs are weak. So where is the lesion? Our area also remaining, it is in the muscle or in the neuromuscular junction. Is there any
Alright.
clue? Is there any clue that it could be disease in the neuromuscular junction? Dr. Hafiz?
Yeah, muscle weakness, proximal.
Proximal plus
And at the end of the day,
end of the day. This is the
after
fluctuation.
using.
Yes, this is the fluctuation of the muscle weakness. So again, go through the box. Come here, neuromuscular junction disorder. Usually, neuromuscular junction disorder and the muscle disorder will be bilateral, not unilateral. Unilateral means more likely this is neurologic disease, spinal cord disease, or above brainstem or cerebral disease. So it is actually peripheral nervous system disease, and there is no sensory problem as well. I think it is not mentioned, though we can get that patient does not have any sensory problem. So it is in the junction disease. Fluctuation of the weakness is very, very characteristic finding in the neuromuscular junction disease. You know the two very popular disease, myasthenia gravis and Lambert-Eaton syndrome.
Excellent.
Okay, Dr. Hafiz, which one? This is Lambert-Eaton or myasthenia gravis?
Yes, seems to be a paraneoplastic after lung cancer,
Okay.
like Lambert-Eaton.
Sometimes myasthenia also may be paraneoplastic. It is also true. So how can you differentiate this myasthenia gravis or Lambert-Eaton? What features guiding you to tell that this is Lambert-Eaton? Dr. Hafiz. Somebody writing, Dr. Hagi, yeah? Dry mouth, proximal weakness, fatigability. Many you have written, but which is the core feature to tell this is Lambert-Eaton? Absent tendon is the features of the myasthenia as well as the Lambert-Eaton. Hyporeflexia in the leg, no, this is not a specific Lambert-Eaton. One to Dr. Hafiz said that it is a paraneoplastic. More often, Lambert-Eaton is a paraneoplastic feature than the myasthenia gravis. Statistically, this is true. Dr. Mamun is willing to tell something. Okay, Dr. Mamun, your mic is on.
In case of Lambert-Eaton syndrome, absent tendon reflex we usually found, but in case of myasthenic syndrome, myasthenia gravis, tendon may be weak but not present as absent form.
But maybe plus minus as well.
And also,
Yeah,
yeah,
we
plus
confused.
minus. And also, in case of
Okay.
myasthenic syndrome, the syndromes is usually confined to ophthalmoplasia, external ophthalmoplegic form.
Anyway, Dr.
And
Mohammed,
not
give me
in.
a chance. I think many colleagues are writing here. I like to summarize. Don't worry. Don't mind.
Okay.
Many of writing actually the correct answer, but just to differentiate this thing, ocular presentation very common in myasthenia gravis. All are the myasthenic, weakness of the muscle. The ocular presentation, ptosis, upper part, more involved in the myasthenia gravis. Limb weakness, more involved in Lambert-Eaton syndrome. Limb weakness, L for L, you can remember in that manner.
Syndrome, right.
This is one. Second is in the background of, already told that, malignant patient, Lambert-Eaton syndrome is more common. Third, autonomic feature. Many of you have written autonomic features very often in Lambert-Eaton syndrome. If we summarize the case, it is a paraneoplastic disease and presenting as Lambert-Eaton syndrome. I think things are clear. Okay. Lambert-Eaton syndrome. It is a neuromuscular junction disease. In course of the time, I like to inform you that there are some lesions where sensory examination is intact. This is one area. Neuromuscular junction disease, muscle disease itself, and you know the motor neuron disease, very popularly motor neuron disease also having without any sensory problem. And there are some other example also, but very grossly, muscle disease, neuromuscular junction disease, and the motor neuron disease will not have sensory problem. It's very easy to remember. So these are the things. Proximal muscle weakness is mainly muscle disease. May not be, maybe due to other disease also, but mainly, I am using the word mainly. But distal weakness in the limb, mainly neurologic disease. It comes, the weakness start from distal part. This is the nature, right? Suppose you can give an example of Guillain-Barré syndrome. You tell that ascending weakness, ascending limb weakness. So it starts from the lower part. This is the nature. The nerve lesion, distal weakness initially, and the proximal weakness initially, we can think that this is muscle disease. In the muscle disease also, it may be neuromuscular junction disease as well. Again, to repeat the word, in the neuromuscular disease, junction disease, neuromuscular junction disease, and the muscle disease, usually feature will be bilateral. Feature will be bilateral. Okay. Now maybe the last case for you. Please be anyone, be volunteer, raise your hand, please. Thank you, Dr. Hafiz and Dr. Mamun also. Anyone more, please? Please raise your hand to be with me in this case. Please don't actually give the answer right now. Dr. Said, Anwar Said again. Okay. Thank you, Said.
Yes, sir.
If you finish, please let me know that you finished the reading.
Oh, okay, sir.
So this is the core message for you. 12-year-old male, again a baby, right? Younger age. What could we think? You answered before, Dr. Zaman answered before that it could be congenital disease or hereditary disease maybe at the young age.
Yes, sir.
And presented with repeated falls, fatigue, muscle weakness, inability to climb a stairs. Climb a stair means, Dr. Said, proximal myopathy. So we can confine our thinking, maybe disease in the neuromuscular junction or maybe in the muscle itself initially. Now we're going to,
Yes, sir.
the young baby may also have neurologic disease, no doubt. This is also true. Now going to the next information. No history of muscular pain. What does it mean? It could not be inflammatory disease, right, Dr. Sai?
Yes, sir.
No
Yes, sir.
muscular
Not
pain.
inflammatory.
Not inflammatory disease. Maternal uncle died. The same illness in the young age. There may be a family history. So could it be hereditary disease, Dr. Anwar Sai?
Definitely, there is a family linkage.
Maybe family linkage. Child has cuff hypertrophy, hamstring muscle contracture. So you know, already you know the diagnosis, but don't utter now. Cuff hypertrophy. there is no thinning and twisting muscle. So thinning means the wasting. So no wasting means it is not upper motor, lower motor. No twisting means, twitching means suppose the fasciculation in other terms. So there is
Yes.
no lower motor
Lower.
problem. So this is not upper motor. This is not lower motor. So this is a family linkage is there, and there is nothing information about the fluctuation of the weakness. Repeated pulse is
Yes.
there, but weakness is not fluctuating. It is not mentioned here. Again, to look at the muscle, there is hypertrophy. Muscle tendon, muscle tone and the jacks are normal. Again, to boost up your previous information, sensation normal, cranial nerve normal. So this is not brain disease. This is not brainstem disease. This is not spinal cord disease. This is not root disease. This is not peripheral nerve disease. Could it be neuromuscular or muscular? So Dr. Anuj said, what could
Sir, as there is no variation, so it is not junctional. Neuromuscular junction is not here. So
Okay.
this is a pure myopathy,
be myopathy? So it is acquired myopathy or hereditary myopathy?
hereditary.
Because hereditary link is there. Okay.
Yes.
Again, the
Yes, sir.
myopathy, is it degenerative disease? Is it vascular disease? It is inflammatory disease? What else?
Degenerative should, because no inflammation is there, and not vascular, definitely.
Now I think you can focus the name of the disease.
Muscular dystrophy, and
one?
this should be Duchenne.
There should be 4 or 5 type muscular dystrophy. It should be
Duchenne muscular dystrophy as younger age,
Okay. Could it
and
be?
one of his maternal uncles died in younger
Okay.
age.
Okay. Could it be Baker muscular? Presently
Baker's
not
presented a bit later years.
a bit later. You are right, really. You are right. So in the lower panel, I have shown the diagnosis is Duchenne muscular dystrophy. Duchenne muscular dystrophy is very popular topic, right, in the academic practice. So this is called muscle disease causing the muscle weakness. How to identify? There is no actually neurologic finding in general, but it persists for the long time. If there is wasting, there may be weak jacks. Rather to say weak jack, not the absent jack. Jack will be diminished, maybe there, but there should not be any sensory problem. This is the hallmark. By the jack, we may be confused. So we have to do sensory test also for that. But if you get very clear history in that manner, diagnosis will be very, very clear. So always keep this box in the left box in your memory. I think it will be very helpful for you. So case presentation finished now, but few minutes more just to summarize. Give me a chance to summarize. Thank you very much, all the participants to be volunteer with me, including Dr. Anuj Said, the last one. Thank you very much. So how to summarize today's topics? You just be with me within few minutes, only 2, 4, 5 minutes may be needed more. Don't worry. So look at what we discussed now today. If the lesion is in the cerebrum, suppose the patient presented with a muscle weakness in the right side, maybe upper limb, lower limb, whatever it is, definitely if it is the cerebral disease, patient will have the weakness upper limb, lower limb, as well as cranial nerve distribution. More often we identify the facial nerve disease. Okay. And what other? There is the weakness in the right side. If it is a cerebral disease, so there will be any feature from this box. I just segregated the feature from the common box. There is nothing new to you. So this is one. Second, go down. This is basal ganglia. In the weakness, if associated basal ganglia feature, that means movement abnormalities, chorea and athetosis and other belismas also, the lesion is in the basal ganglia area. We are evaluating a muscle weakness now, remember. But I remind you, I told you before that without weakness also basal ganglia disease may present. Now, in the cerebellar area, if it is disease in the cerebellar, cerebellar syndrome, I told you, there is actually no weakness of the muscle, but the gross feature is incoordination. In the lower limb, Hilton test, in the upper limb, finger nose test, in the eye, the stigmas, right? Grossly, I'm telling the 3 features. There are many other features. In the lower limb, Hilton test. In the upper limb, finger nose test. In the eye, nystagmus. That means movement of the eye. These 3 tests are enough to diagnose the cerebellum, including gait, waddling gait, and others. What will be the cause of the cerebellar disease? You can identify alcoholism, many other infarctive disease, many others there. Okay. To come to down in the brainstem. Brainstem, yes. This is the crossed weakness. Crossed weakness. In the cranial area, especially the facial nerve area, lower motor type, and the opposite limbs in the upper motor type. This is called crossed weakness. Again, if I ask you, what will be the imaging of choice? MRI. MRI. If we don't understand where is the lesion, initially wrongly we can advise the CT scan of the head. It will be wrong. So if patient presented with a stroke-like presentation, try to identify where is the lesion. If it is in the brainstem, we must advise for MRI, not CT scan. It depends upon the knowledge and understanding of a doctor. Again, in the spinal cord, so the features are in the box. We discussed before, especially the sensory level and the sphincter dysfunction. If it is related with the spine, maybe tumor or trauma, there will be back pain, scar mark. In the MRCP, usually post-operative patient is given. The MRCP candidate can find there is a scar mark in the back. Again, maybe due to disc issue also, degenerative disc issue or malignant compression. At that time also, you may find the scar in the back. It could be a spinal cord disease. Again here, spinal root, again in the box. Just to summarize, I'm not detailing. Radiating limb pain is very important. Radiating limb pain unilaterally rather, not bilaterally. And the reflex will be lost because it will give lower motor neuron sign. Reflex will be lost. Okay, it is in the peripheral nerve, like radial nerve, median nerve. What will be the feature? Along the nerve distribution, you are getting sensory findings. So stalking, if it is in the peripheral nervous system, peripheral neuropathy, this is the stalking and globe distribution. If it is the radial or ulnar nerve, I am not showing the radial nerve here. Really, I am showing the peripheral nerve, peripheral neuropathy issue. So again, loss of reflexes are there in general, stalking and globe distribution of the sensory observation. And the distal limb pain, I told you that neurologic feature start distally. So again, the limb pain here in the distal part start from periphery to up for their stalking and globe distribution. Again, lower motor neuron type. Then neuromuscular junction disorder, especially the fluctuating weakness with exertion. So in the question in the exam, it is given in indirect way. You have seen here at the end of the day. This is the way of presenting question in the exam. And if it is a myasthenia gravis, more likely this is face and the eye problem will be dominating there, myasthenia gravis. The limb feature is dominating means Lambert-Eaton syndrome in the background of malignancy. Definitely a sparing of sensation will be there. And usually it will be bilateral. Bilateral. Right. And the lastly, the muscle disease, bilateral proximal weakness. Usually no sensory problem, bilateral muscle weakness. Maybe proximal or distal both together, but more likely, especially if it is in the hereditary muscle disease, this proximal weakness expressed by failure or weakness in going up a stair or combing the hair or standing up from the chair like that. This is the way of presentation in the exam. All patient may tell in that manner. This is the proximal weakness. And thank you very much up to this. Thank you. Okay, now if you have any comment, please, you can discuss. I am actually giving the chance to talk something if you want. So I am giving the mic to everybody and unmute. Anybody can unmute and you can ask me now, as you most of you become silent. Raise your hand first, better. Dr. Tariq, maybe.
Yes, sir. Sir, my question is, this video will be available to the group or not?
Tariq, very, very technical question you are asking. Don't worry. Don't worry. Okay.
Okay, sir.
As it is a free session, don't worry. I will prepare the video. But I am looking other colleagues to ask me the question. What I have told until around 90 minutes. If
Yes,
anybody like to ask anything I will be very happy.
Yeah, it was very nice presentation, sir.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Tariq. And any real question from anyone, please?
Yeah, sir. What was the answer of that question with the pleural effusion, and it was something like
Yes, I
weakness
can
of the
remember.
limb and-
I can remember. I think somebody answered. This is actually cancer patient of the lung. Lung cancer
Okay,
patient.
so it was Eaton-Lambert
Yes,
syndrome.
Eaton-Lambert
something.
syndrome, doctor. It is a lung cancer patient. Very often, the paraneoplastic feature in favor of Eaton-Lambert. Myasthenia gravis very less likely.
Okay.
Effusion
so
as well as patient may be having the age also.
Smoking
across.
But that
sir.
no, sir. I have a question. If their patient has problems at the end of the day, so how do we differentiate between if that is given in the question that at the end of the day it was more prominent?
Actually, end of the day is a very vague term they are using. It's exam technique, I'm telling. Usually people become active in the later part of the day for that only. Otherwise, there is no very, very critical information. Suppose patient is working somehow, anywhere. It may be in the morning also. At that time also patient will be weak. Again, after taking the rest, patient regaining his energy or her energy. This is the basic thing. So at the end of day,
Okay.
meaning that, actually meaning the exertion, nothing else.
Okay.
Nothing else.
Thank you.
Please, anyone? Better to raise the hand. If no questions, we like to finish. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay,
Mosam,
thank you,
do you
sir.
have a question, Mosam?
Any more question? Okay, you are welcome. If you want to ask question. I think you're Dr. Afridi, right? Hello. Do you like to ask question? Dr. Ramiz Afridi.
Hello, sir.
Oh, is Dr.
Oh, it
Can
was,
Asgar. Dr. Asgar.
it was, yeah.
Dr. Asgar, please. Please take your time. You can talk. Dr. Asgar.
Sir, can you summarize between the conus medullaris and
Sorry,
cardiac equina syndrome?
Doctor, we will not discuss conus medullaris cardiac equina today. It will take
Okay, sir.
more time. It will be a little critical. I have to create the scenario. I hope that in another day, we can sit with other scenarios. Still, it is not finished. I just, in the first session, first session means the first question, I tried to detail everything. Here, lesion means doesn't mean only neurologic lesion. To cause the nerve damage, there are some vessels. So which vessels is involved is another question. So they are still not finished our journey. It is the very beginning. Only where is the lesion? There may be some other issues. Suppose in the brainstem, where is the lesion? Maybe in the pons, maybe in the brain, midbrain, maybe in the medulla. There may be other questions as well. Dr. Asgar, don't mind, eh? We can sit another.
Okay, sir.
Thank you for
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Any more, please? I think no more, eh? Can we finish? Dr. Mamun is willing or not? I'm not sure.
No, sir.
No, okay. Okay,
Thank
you
you,
very
sir.
much.
Just thank you very much for your nice presentations, and hopefully it clears a lot of confusion and made our concept strong, a little bit stronger.
You're right, Dr. Mamun. I tried my best, really. I tried my best, no doubt.
Yes, sir.
Just pray for me, everybody, so that we can sit again with such interesting topic in future. Best of luck. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir. Bye.